The Resident Evil franchise is one of the longest running in gaming, and its story has seen tons of twists and turns. There have been incredible villains, and major disappointments, and enormous set pieces, and despite how ridiculous things could get, its boss fights remain memorable. Let's look at 10 of the best final bosses in this series, which ended their respective games on an emotional high. House, Resident Evil 6. There are a few positive things about Resident Evil 6, but the final boss of Chris's story, a massive BOW named House, was pretty good. The fight begins as a sheer spectacle, with Chris and Pierce using gunfire to wear the creature down. Just when they think it's done, it gives chase through a narrow corridor of the underwater lab. Pierce becomes injured, and it seems Chris is done for, but not before the former injects himself and mutates to fire lightning at House. Of course, even when the creature looks defeated, it comes back one last time to stop Chris from escaping, leading Pierce, who stayed in the facility, to sacrifice himself, stopping it and saving Chris one last time. EVELINE, Resident Evil 7, BIOHAZARD. The final battle with Evelyn isn't a drawn-out affair, but it's still memorable. The big reveal, of course, is that Evelyn is the Grandma Baker, who would appear out of nowhere while Ethan was just going about his business. Once injected with the E-necrotoxin, Evelyn dissolves and reforms into a giant fungal face that takes up the entire wall. Ethan shoots out the eyes and is then ejected from the house, fighting off the giant creature as it attempts to kill him. Of course, in a callback to the older games, he receives the powerful Albert 01 from an unknown benefactor and shoots Evelyn until she falls and crumbles. NEMESIS, Resident Evil 3 Remake. Capcom received a lot of flack for the changes made to Resident Evil 3 2020, whether it was the removal of the clock tower battle or the lack of mercenaries. One thing it deserves credit for is the final battle. The Nemesis, now fully mutated, is a massive beast towering over Jill. The only way to defeat it is by powering up the railgun, but the first shot isn't enough. Jill must run to various power sources and charge the weapon again, hitting the Nemesis' glowing bits to stun it. Once it's ready, she fires a more staggered shot to the creature again at point-blank range to slay it explosively. WESKER, Resident Evil 5.
You've really become quite an inconvenience for me.
A longtime villain like Wesker needed a final battle of epic proportions to send him off, and Resident Evil 5 arguably over-delivered. From firing rockets, which he catches, to a crazy sequence on a cargo plane, Chris and Sheva battle a new mutated Wesker inside a volcano. Long story short, Chris punches a boulder, Wesker sinks into lava, and the two heroes both fire rockets to send him off for good. Truly a finale for the ages, and an incredible conclusion to the years-long feud between Wesker and Chris. William Birkin, Resident Evil 2.
I got this. You should take care of Sherry. You don't know what you're up against.
I have a pretty damn good idea.
Whatever you do, don't stop until it's finished.
Trust me. This ends now.
You encounter the mutated William Birkin, also known as G, several times throughout the routes of Leon and Claire. Even after surviving all the horrors that Raccoon City has to offer, the duo and Sherry finally escape on a train while the city awaits destruction. However, Birkin emerges again, now mutated into a giant monster and slowly destroying the train. While Leon fights it off, Claire focuses on decoupling the train, It ends with the former stabbing Birkin with a metal rod as the car decouples and he's consumed in fire. Tyrant, Resident Evil HD Remaster. In the non-HD release, Resident Evil's Tyrant was a fitting closure to the nightmare surrounding Spencer Mansion. A nigh unstoppable force that charged you, dealing massive damage and giving zero fricks for all the ammo you put into it. It was defeated after Chris and Jill received a rocket launcher, but even that felt high stakes since there was only one rocket. The combination of tension and fighting for survival makes this an iconic end to the first game, and it looks even better in the HD remaster. ALEXIA ASHFORD, Resident Evil Code Veronica. After all the running around and global conspiracies, Chris and Claire finally go up against heavily mutated ALEXIA ASHFORD, while the classic's "everything is going to blow up" timer counts down. Her first form is simple, standing stationary while conjuring up tendrils from below to attack. It's when she mutates further, turning into a flying insect-like creature that spews projectiles is where things get challenging. Nevertheless, deal enough damage and she's done for, exploding in a gory flash as is series tradition. Queen Leech, Resident Evil 0. Though it seemed that Dr. James Marcus was alive in Resident Evil 0, it was revealed to be Queen Leech, gaining his form after consuming his corpse. It lunges at Billy and Rebecca, using its mass to try and grab either character. Dealing enough damage sees appendages sprouting from its back while it attacks tendrils. Things seem anticlimactic after it seemingly dies, but in true RE fashion, the self-destruct sequence is activated, and Queen Leech, mutated further, stops the duo from escaping. After taking some damage from sunlight, Billy finally defeated it with a powerful magnum shot. Jack Norman, the Ultimate Abyss, Resident Evil Revelations. The main antagonist of Resident Evil Revelations, Jack Norman, mutates into something into the Ultimate Abyss by the finale. It towers over the player, but don't let this fool you since it can instantly teleport in front or behind, either smashing the player or grabbing and killing them if you don't shake free in time. The fight is a tense affair as you try to inflict damage on Norman's heart, but when things seem to be going well, it creates a clone, leading to moments where the clone teleports in front, and Norman appears from behind to attack. The fight was a great departure from the usual Tyrant-like bosses, which the franchise offered thanks to Norman's incredible speed. Alex Wesker, Resident Evil Revelations 2. Revelations 2 flipped the script over its predecessor by revealing a different Wesker in charge, Alex Wesker. Heavily mutated and incredibly angry, it starts with Barry running around dumping ammo and explosives into Alex, who attempts to transfer her consciousness to Natalia. When all seems lost, Barry's daughter Myra arrives to rescue Natalia and lead the two to safety. Of course, Alex isn't done and pursues the trio, who are trapped on a cliff with nowhere to go. Cue Claire appearing on a helicopter with a powerful sniper rifle. The fight alternates between Claire sniping Alex from afar and Barry fighting on the ground. It ends in classic Resident Evil fashion, with Claire firing a rocket from the helicopter and slaying Alex for good. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.